ever since I'm a kid, I realized that I am afraid of how people, especially strangers, might react when I approach them in the street. So when I first started taking pictures in the streets, this became a big issue for me. Because from a distance, it was okay. I had a long 85mm lens, so I could manage taking photos of people from far away. But as soon as I needed to come closer to the person, I would start becoming an anxious mess, going back and forth, fumbling with my camera, finding excuses not to take the photo that I wanted. Because of course, my brain would say it wasn't worth chasing it. It wasn't worth risking myself and exposing myself to the ridicule, because I was already predisposing myself to the fact that the photo was not going to be good enough. To be honest, it was uncomfortable and painful, even now, just to speak about it. Because on one side, I could see in my mind's eye the potential in the photos that I was seeing in front of me. Yet over and over again, I failed to take that first crucial step. And though this fear doesn't really apply to all the styles of street photography, it definitely does for those people who, like me, are interested in taking photos of humans in the streets. But at the end of the day, whatever excuse or reason we put for not doing it, at least in my own perspective, I've discovered that if I wanted to take the photos that felt truth to myself at a given point, I forcefully needed to overcome this fear. So finally, one day, I decided that I had had enough. And I promised to myself that the next time I catch myself mentally pacing back and forth after seeing a potential photograph, I'll pause, take a breath, and just go for it. And of course, it didn't take long for this to happen. There I was again, pacing at the sight of a beautiful scene of a woman weaving the little palm baskets used for Balinese offerings. Finally, I caught myself there once again, pacing back and forth, looking at the beautiful scene in front of me, and with my heart pumping in my throat, I grabbed my camera, I walked out, and I introduced myself to her husband, and her dog. Thankfully, they spoke quite a good English, and they invited me to sit with them while Mother, the woman, worked in her offerings. I then asked her to take photos of her while she continued working on the offerings. And even though they're not really the best photos I have taken in my whole life, they represent for me one moment, like I said, that marks the before and after in my photographic career. Because beyond the quality of the results, for me, it was a very intimate moment that I had never had before, and felt absolutely grateful for their openness and their welcoming into their house. It's been 2 years since that moment of bravery. And I'm super happy with the way daring to approach strangers has improved my photography. But I must confess, I still find myself pacing back and forth every now and then. It definitely has gotten a lot more easier with time, but every now and then it still beats me. Now I try not to feel too bad when this happens though, because I've come to terms with the fact that this is the game that I'm playing. And I know that if I fail today, I will have another opportunity the next day. Something unexpected that has come from this is the fact that by challenging my fears and overcoming them, I have changed the relationship I have with my fear and my anxiety. Slowly, I've learned to see the physical sensations that my body gives me when I'm anxious or afraid as signals that point me in the direction I should go. It's as if my body is saying, well, I like the thing that I am seeing, but I don't know if it's going to live to the expectations of myself and others, so I'd rather stay here and not do it. And then my job becomes to soothe my body back into a place of safety from which I can decide whether I want to take the next step or not. And that's it. That's the story that I had for you today. I want to take the time to acknowledge the fact that reaching out to people can be a daunting task. And it's very different depending on the place in the world where we're living. Some places are more open, some places are more closed. But I do believe that if we want, we are all capable of overcoming those blockages. I think that it's also important to question ourselves and ask, what do I want to do? Why am I even bothering to break these blockages in the first place? So at the end of the day, I don't think it's appropriate to go out doing things just because a stranger on YouTube told you to do it, or because an Instagram influencer said that this is the thing you need to do if you want to be a photographer. The most important thing we can do is feel for ourselves what is good for us. Thank you once again to listen to what I have to say. Please share your story with me in the comments. What sort of blockages have you overcome in your journey of photography? As usual, don't forget to give a thumbs up and share this video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep seeing more content like this. I hope to see you next time. Peace.